Hello, yes, people. Welcome back. You're tuned into an episode of this unique and wondrous podcast, which will keep you coming back for more, no doubt, and seeing the world around you a little clearer and a little differently. And you're hosted by me, Claire.
And me, Akumu.
And together we are
The
Yes Girls.
So we are two Nairobi-based journalists who are making it our mission to say yes to doing, being, and learning something different every 2 weeks. And then we document our journeys after that or through that. So this podcast is a strange and very interesting result of us saying yes to sometimes challenging, sometimes fun, sometimes entertaining, and sometimes downright outrageous experiences.
We really don't like the soft life, do we, Akumu?
Why do you say that? We're sitting here in comfortable chairs surrounded by expensive equipment that we really don't want to mess up with, recording the podcast that we are passionate about, sipping hot coffee. Where's my coffee? Sipping hot coffee. With awesome people. How's that not a soft life?
Oh, that's a sweet sentiment. But no, this is not the soft life. We have taken on a huge challenge that only the savviest, cleverest, cutting-edgest, and ruthlessest people do and should.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't realize we were being quite that ambitious with the Yes Girls.
We are. And the worst thing is that we do it to ourselves. No one forces us. No one's even paying us.
Wait, what? We're not being paid? I'm out of here.
Stay put, you. We committed to it and now there's no backing out. It's too late because we said yes to learning cryptocurrency.
That's so cryptic. What's cryptic currency? Cryptocurrency? Scratching my head.
Yeah, we asked ourselves that a lot during this challenge, but we persevered and let's see where it got us.
Learning challenges are the more technical, theoretical challenges. They take a bit of patience and skill, and we usually can do them from the comfort of our homes. But they are usually anything but comfortable.
And you, Akumu, usually do way better than me at these ones. I think I'm either stupid or impatient.
No comment. By the way, this one might be the exception. But let's find out more about what this crypto malarkey is. I like that word. Malarkey.
For season 4 of the Yes Girls, we are really zoning in on some essential 21st century, highly desirable, sometimes highly marketable, and definitely highly useful skills that are deliberately chosen to inspire, educate, and entertain the 21st century success story. We have an expert in this episode, and this season we also turn to the future.
That's right. We turn to the Yes Girls and boys.
And everything in between.
Of the next generation, the kids. And we do this because we want to see what they have to say about the topics we have selected for this season. And you'd be amazed at the things kids pick up on. But also, kids are usually, displaying a lot of optimism and curiosity that makes them very different from us mature, in quotes, mature people, because we've lost, all that goodness somewhere along the way in the quagmire of taxes, responsibilities, and trying to keep up with TikTok or Reels.
So we chose to learn about cryptocurrency because it is one of the biggest things happening to our economy right now, linked to the digital revolution. And there are thousands, if not millions of people out there who are becoming, wealthy or more learned or richer or even millionaires off of cryptocurrency.
And some losing millions because of it, whole careers and companies. In fact, an entire parallel economy is involved in this world, and it's a world we know next to nothing about.
Or we knew next to nothing about.
Past tense. But it could also
still be true.
Exactly. But we have an expert to guide us. So Erick Asuma is the founder of Kenya Wall Street and its parent company, Hisa Technologies, which is involved in financial media, financial trading, and public relations. He's the go-to person for any questions about the Nairobi Stock Exchange, online trading, and financial trends. He is the expert for this episode.
So, Erick, how would you describe your place in this sector that we've just touched on?
Interesting. So, first, I think it's a pleasure to be on the Yes Girls podcast. When we had a chat about this, I said, why not? I said yes, of course, right?
Because you're a yes guy.
I'm learning. I want to help as many people to learn about the space, to of course find a way to build wealth from the space, and hopefully, if they run businesses, find a way they could incorporate this new technology into improving processes in their businesses.
Okay. And so can you tell us or remind us and tell the listeners what we agreed to challenge ourselves to in this episode? After we had our first session with you, you kind of briefed us, you gave us a few tips, some guidelines, really brought us from ignorance into some sort of area of minimal knowledge compared to where we were before. It was a pretty big improvement. And then what did our challenge involve? The challenge you set us, or that we agreed on?
Interesting. So the challenge was, how do we learn about crypto practically? So basically, the way you remember from when we began talking is that we separated this challenge into two formats. 1 week, which is theoretical, and then the second week was practical. So, of course, the first week was around what's crypto, how does the space work, like what are the key elements involved, and then our second week was to go into practical around, like, how can a layman or the man on the street, say the lady on the street, for example, in this case, to learn about, to practically learn about the space. You don't have to understand it, say, from an end-to-end perspective, but just to get a gist around how do this crypto work. So I remember correctly, the first week, what we did is that we were sharing a lot of materials around the space. The most recent developments around, I think under the time I remember clearly, the industry was more of in a meltdown, right?
Yeah, it was just when things were starting to go
down.
really bad.
Yeah. So which I think I remember I mentioned to you, it's like you have to be. The news don't have to. Get you worried. You just have to learn a lot, and hopefully with time, once you get in directly, I think that's now when you learn about this space. So, and fast forward to the second week was, what do we use? How does one get practically? So, which took us to a process of, we looked for platforms that we thought are easier to say anyone to open an account and put in a slip, let's say $10, right?
Yeah,
$10 to $15.
Our limit was 1,500 shillings.
Which is about $15.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so which I think I shared a couple of platforms. So that's local Bitcoins, Binance, and Paxful. And I remember correctly what I said is that given how fast the industry is growing, it's skeptical to a lot of scammers and conmen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember there's a time we went through one of the platforms, one of the three platforms that I mentioned. And I mentioned that be careful around, someone posing in that particular platform. I have this there's some red flags that we need to look at around before you put in your money. Maybe a good example I would give, what we said is that, like, let's find the easiest way for anyone to invest in crypto. We took the three platforms. All of us downloaded the app. one of the three apps. Then we said which one is the easiest. So I did Binance. I think it's you did Paxful.
I did local Bitcoins.
You did local Bitcoins.
I did Coinbase because Binance took
you
too
did
long.
Coinbase.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
She disobeyed the rules.
Okay.
Bear that in mind when you're rating her.
Interesting. Quite interesting, because Coinbase is a US company, but they actually enable people to buy crypto from this market. And
it was very easy to log in.
It's actually very easy. Now the challenge is, maybe I think something that we should mention to our audience is that it's good to understand the state of crypto. This is more of like a high level side. Locally, people or companies who operate in the space, it's more of, we are like in a gray area. Meaning there's a regulatory challenge. However, the rate of adoption in Kenya, it's like one of the highest in the world. Like think a report came out recently saying 8% of the Kenyan population have access to crypto.
8.
Yeah, that's
8%.
a lot.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
But Nigeria is still bigger, no?
No.
Really?
Kenya
We've beaten
wins.
them.
So that was a report by UNCTAD that about 4.25 million Kenyans have access to crypto.
Wow.
And the main reason is that a few years back, a few companies tried getting directly into the space. So it's a simple. So there are 2 ways you can get into crypto. So to put it in a layman's, either indirectly or directly. So directly meaning, so the way people in the crypto describe this is either in a centralized or decentralized way. So for example, if I needed to buy, say, Bitcoin, for example, which is the most common crypto, initially or earlier on in this particular market, I needed to, say, load money into a wallet. That can be your M-Pesa or bank account. Then you push it towards the exchange that's selling the crypto. You send them the money. They load your wallet with that particular amount of crypto that you wanted to invest in. However, our central bank came and said, we are not, like, crypto is illegal in this market. So a lot of companies were actually shut down. So, and now given that, like, of course, what's happening in the media, a lot of news around crypto, a lot of Kenyans or Africans became curious around, like, what's this cryptocurrency? So then now people went through, now the easiest way that people now, or these companies figured out a way to be able to sell this crypto via something called P2P, so person-to-person transfer. So in this case, so platforms like Binance, Paxful, local Bitcoins, what they do is that they give you a platform. They connect, say, by someone who has Bitcoin. In this case, let's use Bitcoin because that's what we used, I think, in our challenge. I'm assuming I'm Eric. I want crypto worth 1,500 shillings. So this platform connects me to Clearite. I send you the 1,500. Then the crypto in your wallet is put more of in an escrow account. So I confirm that I've received the cash. The platform automatically releases the crypto to my wallet, and that's how most people have been having access to crypto in this particular market.
So before we get too far down this, I think it's great. We've laid the foundation, what the challenge was. We've even given a little bit of insight about what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrency is. We might use those terms interchangeably for the purposes of this episode, but crypto is bigger than just Bitcoin. And so now the 2-week countdown is on. And if we start with the weakest link in these learning challenges, i.e. me, I guess I should go first, right?
No. The yes kids should go first. Not saying that they are the weakest link, just the youngest. Let's see what Joy, our crypto yes kid, has to say about this whole big question mark of a challenge.
Today I'm going to talk about cryptocurrency. I'm going to start with crypto. Crypto is a protection of money, and currency is money that can go high or low. It can make someone really rich, and that is a nice idea.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Probably, you probably
even
couldn't
with
even
my
have said it that well.
cluelessness. Even with my cluelessness.
I think Joy beats you on crypto knowledge.
Yep,
from
she
like
does.
the start of the challenge.
She simplified it perfectly. Now, Claire, is crypto your kryptonite? Tell us.
I was so psyched by this challenge. I had coincidentally been seeing and hearing a bit about it at this time or just before this challenge started on podcasts and in newspapers. So I was really keen to dive deeper. And after our initial call with Eric, I went and spent quite a few hours Googling and going down the rabbit hole online and found some crazy facts about cryptocurrency, like how some countries like El Salvador have made it legal tender and like just gave all of their inhabitants like a certain number, like a float of crypto, and how some guy became an overnight multi-millionaire because an old website he built, which turned out to be an NFT gold mine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I even had to learn what an NFT was. Anyway, I was so intrigued. However, when I put my knowledge to the test by trying to de-virginize another crypto version, aka my partner Saxo, I realized that maybe I hadn't made as much progress as I thought.
You thought you understood it, but you couldn't explain it.
So it's day one of learning cryptocurrency. Now, Saxo in the car, did I do a good job of explaining to you what my understanding of cryptocurrency is?
No,
No! I did such a great job.
I didn't understand.
That's because you were not listening.
No. I personally traded the stock exchange and I didn't understand the...
But this is why crypto is so different to trading on the stock exchange. It's a different currency, a different concept of currency. That's the whole point.
But that's what now I need to understand.
So it's like, it's not money based on business. It's based on IT, basically. Imagine like it's money that is generated by computer processes, not by central banks and printed money and trading goods and services. But you can buy goods and services with it. Okay, I'm also not really understanding it, am I?
I don't understand.
I think we need to do some more research.
Yes, please.
And then we buy some.
Yes.
But maybe not a lot, because we clearly don't understand it.
But there was an article by Central Bank. They told Kenyans not to buy.
Central Bank told Kenyans not to buy crypto.
Yeah.
Why? Because they think it's a threat.
It was not stable.
But in a way, it's supposed to be more stable than any national currency regulated by a central bank.
Exactly. Now that's what we need to understand.
Yeah. And it's really plummeting right now, so I've heard. Let's go do some more research. So, after that, I went back to the drawing board and decided to get practical by setting myself up on a crypto trading website. So first I tried Binance, which is the one that Erick first recommended, or the first of the three that Erick recommended. And they happened to have billboards erected around Nairobi just in time for this challenge. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Wow, they knew.
Yeah. And they spoke of how easy it
I
was to
saw
set
them.
up an account. They lied.
It's not easy.
I tried for 5 days and they would not accept my passport scan no matter how many times I took the photo at home, at the office. So I switched to local Bitcoins and that only took 2 days to set up an account. Only. That's, it's half by half. So I honestly thought it would be much easier, like just a name and a password. But I guess it's a whole online currency and trading world and there have to be some security precautions, right? Mm-hmm. So a mobile phone verification step, a passport scan, and a live photo taken from your webcam to check that you're that person. Mm-hmm. And I was good to go. To start with, I bought only 500 shillings. So if you remember, we set a limit of 1,500 shillings.
Yeah.
I put 500 shillings. I bought 500 shillings of Bitcoin to start with off a verified trader, meaning that they had completed a lot of trades already and had no worrying complaints. That was another piece of advice from Erick, which was very, very important. And I thought 500 shillings was playing it safe, okay? Especially as at the time, the Bitcoin world seemed to be on a bit of a nosedive. As Erick mentioned already, it was really, falling, like the value was going down. So I monitored it every day to see if the value was going up or at least stabilizing. And actually, if you just Google like Bitcoin value, it will tell you how much at that precise moment one Bitcoin is worth in your currency. It's really interesting to check that every day and see how much it went up or down, just fractionally up or down. Mm-hmm. But it was just continuing to dip throughout this whole challenge. So I decided to stay close to my money. And in typical sensible Claire financial management fashion, as we learned from our money management episode, I held on to the other 1,000 shillings because I figured the Kenyan shilling was actually more stable than the Bitcoin at that point. Now, Erick's nodding, so I think that's a good sign. But it was playing it too safe maybe. But anyway, it turns out that now, at the time of recording, which is a couple of months later, my 500 shillings worth of Bitcoin is now worth, drumroll please,
Drum rolls.
That was a terrible drum roll.
My
My 500 shillings worth of Bitcoin is now worth 496 shillings.
Okay.
and my other 1,000 shillings,
It's gone back.
my other 1,000 shillings are still worth 1,000 shillings. So I think I officially broke even. Okay, I lost 4 shillings and 5 days of my life on trying to register for Binance. But, what can you do with 4 shillings, really? But yeah, to me, it wasn't about the value of my money at the end of this. It was being part of that process of knowing, okay, there's millions of people out there who are doing exactly the same thing, probably at exactly the same time, monitoring the value, seeing, can they get rich? And I think the secret is that, my brother works in financial trading, right? And he always told me, like, if it was that easy, everyone would be a millionaire or a gazillionaire.
Yeah, and there are very few.
So we just got a small taster. I learned that it is very difficult to understand it, but it's relatively easy. And I only traded 500 shillings. That's $5 US, 3 British pounds. And at least I feel like I'm part of this much bigger economy, this thing that is way bigger than me and will continue to grow. Whatever the value of Bitcoin, that economy, that parallel economy is still growing, right? So that was my 2 weeks. And yeah, got 500 shillings worth of Bitcoin or 0.03 something
Interesting.
Bitcoins.
Compare that, maybe a quick one, Claire. Compare that to inflation rate over that particular period. If you had to compare that vis-a-vis inflation rate, the value of, the dollar vis-a-vis the Kenya shilling, probably the value of your Bitcoin could be much higher despite...
If you kept it.
Yes.
So you're saying maybe my shillings actually lost more than my Bitcoins did.
Of course.
She's saying you should have put the 1,000 in either way because having a Bitcoin is better value right now.
Maybe this is part of the illusion of money that we think, okay, my 1,000 shillings is still worth 1,000 shillings, whereas actually on the global trading floor, it's probably worth less.
Yes.
But I think I've got 1,000 shillings, that piece of paper, and it's still worth that. But actually, it's not. Whereas Bitcoin, in a way, is more transparent and more international. So yeah, that is a very good point.
Interesting
so maybe
point.
I'll throw another 1,000 shillings.
But I think it would also be different if, imagine if that 500 was now 500,000 Kenyan shillings. You would have lost a lot, right? You would have lost quite a lot.
From 500 to 500,000?
No, because you lost 4 shillings for 500, right?
Yes.
So if it was bigger money, you would have lost a lot.
Yeah. If I'd
more.
invested 1 million shillings, then now I'd. But then
it would be a bigger loss. Or what?
But as Eric is saying, the shilling itself probably depreciated even more than the Bitcoin in that time. But we weren't checking that.
So it's safer to keep your money in Bitcoin.
No, not really.
Right now.
Disclaimer.
Right now.
So,
right now.
A disclaimer. This is not investment or financial advice, but
please do not take our word for it.
Yeah. So I think one of the best advice that I was given early on is that it's good to diversify, but I think don't put money that you'll need tomorrow in some of these in the financial markets. So things like don't put your school fee in stocks or Bitcoin or whatever. Don't put money that like you'll need for your daily expenses there, right? So that's the best approach. So my approach to basically not just crypto but entire investing is that start with as little as you can, right? Then be a bit consistent. So in a way, put $5 into Bitcoin, put maybe another $3 into look for another protocol, say Ethereum or whatever, that you think probably you think they'll be doing well in a couple of years. Put some money in stocks, put some money in bonds, put some money in mutual funds. So in a way, if the price of Bitcoin, for example, if your net worth in percentage-wise, so if say 10% of your net worth is in Bitcoin, if it was to go down 50%, because it's very possible.
It's very possible.
At least you've retained some cash in the mutual funds. So you held some cash in Kenya shilling, some cash in US dollars. So if the value of the Kenya shilling, for example, at the moment, it's the shilling has been depreciating, at least maybe your US dollar could be, your dollar could be at least retaining that value. So I think that's the best approach. So start with as minimal as possible. At least know that money that it gives you sleep. Not that you put your entire school fee, then you lose sleep over it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And it's a long-term investment, but you don't just let your money sleep there, right?
Yeah.
You should be reading up, seeing what's happening. Things can change from one day to the next.
Yeah,
right?
because of course, in the world of financial markets, the biggest driver is information, right? And the only way you can't say you read about this financial information, but then you don't execute, right?
But you have to predict, and that's the hardest part. You have to predict what's going to happen when Elon Musk tweets one crazy tweet. And, today, the Bitcoin is going down because of that one tweet. Like, that's what I find super crazy about this.
But it's always a risk.
Yeah, and the good thing
can't
about,
predict.
say, crypto is that it's, with financial markets like the stock market, there's a specific time that the stock market opens and it's closed. Then, of course, the stock market is not opened over the weekend. So the good thing about some of these new technologies like crypto, it's 24 hours.
It's a
The
good
good
thing.
or the bad
because
thing?
now
We
it's
never sleep.
24-hour anxiety.
Now, the thing is, imagine now the beauty about this, in my opinion, is that it's the barriers to entry to traditional financial markets are limiting. So imagine a young campus student, he learns about this thing, but initially it was extremely difficult to get into financial markets.
That's true.
But the world of crypto, as you said, in as much as it took 2 days to verify you,
You're
it's
in.
On the other side, financial markets, traditionally, you have to have say a minimum balance of a certain amount. You must be of a certain age. You have to
You have to
disclose
have a
your sources of
job
income.
and all those things.
And
Yeah.
only trading at certain times.
Yeah.
And if you're in a different time zone, you wake up in the middle of the night to trade.
Yeah.
It's very
That doesn't happen
It's
with
very
with
limiting.
crypto.
Yeah, unlike say the crypto world is that you check on Twitter, Elon says this Tesla will be accepting
You're
Bitcoin for
sorted.
payment, goes up.
Yep.
Or he says something negative, the price goes down.
But it's an interesting game. It's like gambling.
It
Trading
depends.
is gambling.
It is gambling.
It's
It's an aspect. It's a version of gambling.
I feel like we've said something triggering here. When we said gambling,
Yeah.
what
I mean,
was that look on your face?
interesting. So gambling. This is my own opinion. Gambling is a zero-sum game, right? So I'm assuming it's football. Team A is playing with Team B. It's either if this team wins, you lose your entire cash, right? If your bet goes wrong,
Yeah.
like that's it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, with financial markets, if an asset could fall down by 10%, 2%, but you can't lose entirely. And then with time, that can recover. If you lose a game,
It's all gone.
the house
It's not a
wins.
quick
There's
win.
no
Yeah.
second
True.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like any other learning curve around, more of like school. Start with as minimal, then as your knowledge improves, you put more money into some of those assets. You also get to learn.
But I think people with a gambling problem should not be in crypto.
Now the challenge is, I think what most people think, even for people who get into crypto initially, they think it's a quick or a quick rich sort of scheme.
Yeah,
that
get rich quick.
Yeah. But it's not the case actually. Like you have to take, even for people, when you look at people say who've made money from the space, probably they've done a lot of other things. They actually make money much later.
And they have lost it.
Yeah, and they've also lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Akumu,
Mine.
it's over
Okay.
to you now.
Okay, so in my case, crypto investing runs in the family, but only after this challenge, not before.
Meaning?
Meaning my mom has been in the space for a little over a year or more, with a couple of friends of hers. And, from my experience, I would not want it to quote unquote run in the family. That's her advice. I'm not cooking it up. So she has actually lost money. She knows friends who've lost money. So yeah, she is not telling me to go in. She literally told me, her advice to me is like, run, run the other way. Or that's what she said. She said, run, don't put your money into it, or learn how to trade individually. And then buy and sell when prices shift, So basic advice here is, in capital letters, don't trust anyone. Like you said, like there are lots of con artists, con websites, con organizations all over the place. And, my mom has told me, she and her friends, put in money in a website. Tomorrow the website has disappeared. This is happening in Kenya. And lots of people are losing a lot of money on that. Yeah. So she told me, like, this is a thing you do individually, and that's pretty much what we did. We got into, a legit trading website, not those ones that are, shifty websites that tell you put this in and then we'll make you rich. Come on. So the other secondhand experience I have with this stuff is when my American friend, now the one I told you guys, who I think in 2016, we were in Zanzibar and no one really cared about Bitcoin at the time. And I think the year before, he'd just bought, he's an American from, a well-to-do family. So either way, he had networks that had bought. And I think there's a time I saw him, he was just celebrating the fact. I think that's the time where it really went up. It went double digit up. He made lots of money. And I think he had a couple of Bitcoins. Maybe not even a couple, I think tens and thousands and tens and hundreds. So he made lots of money from that. I hope he got it out. Yeah. I don't know if he's still in it, but yeah, so such stories were in my head before I got into this. So fast forward to the intro call with Erick and, keeping all the dangers in my mind, we were ready to get started. So the challenge was signing in for Binance. Yeah, that's like clear, it happened like clear. I moved to, by the time I was meant to have already started, buying Bitcoin. I was still fighting for, an account or to be, verified. So I ditched Binance and I moved to Coinbase, which is pretty good, by the way. It's pretty easy. And I think they just moved to Kenya last year. So lucky us. So I don't know what you think about Binance, but it's an American thing. So I was like, yes. So from all my research, in terms, I think I got it from, I just researched the best sites. I have this. Okay, I thought like if it's crypto, why I should go for an international company. That's why I didn't even do. I didn't consider this others as such. And Coinbase is a big name, so I'd rather trust a big name. So at that time, I asked for 4 extra days. You remember, because I was already late because of verification. So from then on, I geeked out on crypto investments. By then, I was listening to crypto investment podcasts for tips. Now, I didn't feel like I could trust YouTube much because there are too many YouTube opinion kings there. And you don't, YouTube has a lot of people. You go to YouTube for opinion, not for fact. So I didn't want to go to YouTube. I decided to go to the podcast I listened to and listen to the crypto episodes because pretty much all the podcasts I listen to have one guest who's crypto. So that's what I did. And then I just used to read a couple of articles here and there. So my dream was to even make even a bit of money. So from there, I got, so I think I liked Coinbase because once I invested with the whole 15. Yeah.
Oh, you went all in.
That's what I do. I was just like, why should I think about this? Let me just do. Okay, it's little enough money to just let it go.
This is a microcosm of our financial management.
Yes,
episode.
Exactly. Because it's to clear. That's a lot of money for me. I was thinking, okay, I might as well just because I wanted to avoid the decision making process of let me do 700. It was partly laziness because I was just like, let's just do it. And then I was already late. I was just like, okay, let's just put the whole thing in. So I got. I used that to get Bitcoin. And then the good thing with Coinbase, you get price alerts on email and stuff. So you don't even need to look for info. It just comes on your email. And I like that. That was cool. And then it has this title that says price alert, Bitcoin is down. And then it's just like, shit. You don't even have to open it. You just see Bitcoin is down. And I think the few days when I was now trading, there were 3 times when that email came in. Bitcoin is down minus 5.9. Bitcoin is down minus 5.16.
All in.
I know. So by the time you left, I think it wasn't that bad. It was 5.9 again, and then 5.16, and then down 5.96. Yeah. So it only changed a couple of days later where it went up, I think, 9.85%. But that was days after the thing was over, So, by that time, I was done with my extra 4 days, right? So it didn't really matter. So how much did I make from the initial investment? I think it ended up going down. So it was 14.2, something like this. Yeah. And I didn't do any buying. And after the initial buying, I didn't, we had said like, you buy, you sell and you buy. We were meant to do that, right?
Well, not meant to. It was
not
an
meant,
option, right?
but it was an option.
And
I was doing the basic minimum. Yeah. So I just sat there and watched my money go.
But again, I think that's linked to what we were saying earlier, that you want to start small, you want to learn.
Yes.
You do, it's good to get practical, but I don't think we were necessarily ready to be like trading every day.
I know.
Right? Like the
And that
people
needs
who
a lot
we were
of time,
buying
right?
from are the people who are trading every day and actually making money from it.
Yeah.
A volumes game, right?
So maybe the way I tend to think of it is that, the whole essence of this challenge is look at it in a way, maybe a few years later, when the Yes Girls podcast has grown and you have, say, sponsors from US or wherever,
Coinbase,
and they want to pay,
Coinbase.
and they want to pay you, right? What will you prefer? They tell you, look, can we pay you in Bitcoin, or should we pay you in, say, fiat? So then the challenge that comes with fiat is that you'll have to provide a lot of, legal and documentation with regards to banking if it's a certain amount. And
Interesting.
Coinbase and Binance, I hope you're listening.
The point is, I'll give you an example. A few years back, I did some work for a company, a crypto company.
Wow.
Actually, one of the major crypto exchanges.
Don't tell me this is a sad story again.
Yeah, another sad story. So I learned the hard way, to be honest, my journey in crypto. So I think it was about maybe 500k Kenyan shillings, not that much, but
That's a lot of money.
How much? 500,000?
Yeah, Kenyan shillings.
Yes.
So maybe about $5,000, give or take 100 per dollar. So they told me, we need to pay you this money. However, do we pay you in Bitcoin or we pay you in Kenya shilling? So with my sort of...
you should just lie. This is a podcast. Just pretend. People don't know.
Tell us.
Imagine.
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
I know I want to be paid in... That was in 2019, early Jan, Feb.
It was still good then, right?
Yes,
Oh
Bitcoin
my
was
God.
about 3,000, between less than 5,000.
Oh my God.
And so?
I said I want to be paid in Kenya shilling.
Can
Like,
you
I
imagine?
want
You
money in my
lost all
bank
that
account.
money.
So
You wanted
Yes.
you wanted those notes. You wanted
wanted
that
something you
now.
understand.
no, not really. I think, to be honest, now it's also a question of I was running a business. I need cash flow for my business.
That's true.
Yeah,
You can only do that if that money you didn't need it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine whom we did with the same sort of consultancy work was paid in Bitcoin.
And now
And
he's
he
in
sold
Hawaii.
he sold in 2020 when the price was, I think,
Oh my God, that's like 10
yeah,
times.
yeah, nearly more than 10 times. Yeah. So not that I regret, but I learned a lot around how do I, if of late I would prefer getting paid in.
In Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now that you know.
Yeah, now that I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's a
from
really interesting exercise there.
from the podcast I had, like the way you say this, you need to only invest money that you're willing to lose.
Yeah.
So that even if it makes money, it's good for you. If
Yeah.
you lose it, you're fine. Either way, winning or losing, give the kind of money that winning or losing doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, diversify.
Yeah. I mean, even back to your mom's example, when she was telling you, run. What has happened, given the kind of interest that crypto, in this market that crypto has? So most people took advantage of, to be honest, I'll give church, for example.
Oh my
Chamas.
God. I know.
And basically even
Hold
across
on,
financial
just
markets,
to pause there for
the-
anyone not in Kenya, a chama is like a community savings group or investment group.
Yeah. And when you look at even traditionally in the Kenyan financial markets or even Africa in general, a lot of people have been scammed or conned through
me, I
giving someone money to invest on your behalf.
And someone they trusted that person.
Yes.
That person ran away with the bitcoins.
Yeah. A good example, what you said, I read a report somewhere that in Kenya alone, last in between 2020 and 2021, Kenyans lost about 12 billion in crypto scams. And given that we are
And
in
that
the,
is just the recorded one.
yes,
There
and given that we are
more
in the media
people.
space, like we write on these stories on a daily basis, we see them happening. So
And
basically,
guess what? Those are only the stories you found. There's a lot more.
Yeah, there's-
Because if you've lost a lot of money, you're even afraid to tell someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're ashamed.
You just die alone.
yeah,
There's no shame. Look,
Yeah.
even you're admitting yourself that you made you learned from mistakes, but
Yeah.
at least it wasn't your life savings. A lot
Yeah.
of people are actually being scammed of their life savings.
And you
Yeah.
remember the issue, my mom,
Mm-hmm.
it was Bitcoin.
yeah. So it's basically
Alex,
someone
yeah.
telling you, look, give me the money. So the person collects money on behalf. I'll invest on it. But if, of course, the first question you should always ask, like, is the person either regulated or, I mean,
There are no
most people don't.
regulations.
So if, and it's easier if these scammers come through, say, an organization like church
And chamas.
and
trust
scammers.
them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
trust them.
This guy gets Bitcoins from 20 people. This guy is rich.
Yeah. There's
And
actu-
most of these people who are being scammed, honest to say, are like, I'd say, 40 and above. Because they're the ones who are easy to say, let's do this.
And they're less likely to, from what I've heard, they're less likely to go and research it themselves. If they're told, you give me $1, I'll give you $5 back, guaranteed, which is never true. Like,
Yeah,
do
it's the
not-
same way, this Nigerian scams, it's older people who get scammed the most.
yeah.
So my mom has a friend even, I don't even think, it's not even just the scammers, it's just also, wrong timing. I think she put in $100,000. It's like $1,000. And she was
100,000 Kenyan shillings.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she was expecting returns. And that's the big problem. Like with Bitcoin,
you
you
never-
don't, I mean, you should be okay either way. I'll lose it or I might make it. But her, she was really expecting. Now it's back, it's down to like 5,000 shillings.
Yeah, and I think what the easiest way these people use is they tell you, look, give us 100K, we'll give you 50. Like no one can guarantee in financial markets.
Exactly.
Like there's always, so unless the good thing now about the challenge that we took, so as good as you get the alerts, Bitcoin today is down this price, it's up this, like it's,
You can make a decision for
yeah, you can
yourself.
actually make a decision for yourself. Unlike these others, so at the end of the month, you'll be expecting certain returns. There's actually, I don't mention a nationality, but a case that happened recently this year of a company that came to Kenya within 2 months that scammed Kenyans more than 2 billion Kenyan shillings within 2 months, easily. And then the company closed down, they were unreachable, and the guy
Those are the ones I told you. You wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
The website is missing.
yeah.
So we don't want to scare people off, but this is why this is a learning challenge, because you have to,
Yeah.
we advise you to learn, read, experience for yourself, explore for yourself.
And do the trading for yourself.
Yes.
I'd suggest.
If you're willing to take the risk. This is a financial market. It's not regulated by a central bank. I mean, the theory of it is it's kind of controlled because it takes an incredible amount of technological power to generate a Bitcoin. So that is a safeguard against there being some kind of corruption in it, right? It's incorruptible.
Yeah.
Crypto, it is
Yeah.
encrypted. But Akumu, I realized we cut off your
Anyway,
your
I was
experience.
just finishing. Am I going to do this again? Probably not, unless I have lots of money to kind of just money I'm willing to let go of, and it's just not about the money, it's also the anxiety. Like I choose not to watch the news, to watch Premier League, and to watch the World Cup most of the time because of anxiety. I just don't want to wake up every day and wonder, oh my God, what's gonna happen? That's just too much anxiety. So investing in crypto for me, I think it's too volatile of a hobby. I would only take it up with money I'm willing to lose, like small money. So maybe I'll try and see, when it's up, you sell. And then, if you do such things, I think it could be cool. And that's why I'm thinking it's like gambling, because you're looking at your opportunity, which for me, that would be exciting. but still it would be full of anxiety. So I'll stay boring with my investments, or I'll probably take up. There's a friend who offered he could, just help me put it in. I trust him. I think.
Be
so.
careful.
I mean, if he's taking away the anxiety and it's money I'm willing to lose, maybe. But otherwise, I'll stick to boring. So this was a hard one to put into words. How do you really fully express an internal learning experience? I think we both certainly learned a lot. But how would Erick rate us? How would you rate us in this learning experiences from what you've had and, the money we didn't make? So
Go on, Erick.
spill the Bitcoin.
Interesting. I think first going through that experience, you get 5 out of just taking the initiative to learn. And of course, despite whatever, I don't look at, the lesson in terms of what you gained. I look at in terms of, the price or the percentages, or even the value that you made. I look at it in terms of you saw actually firsthand how the technology works. So I would rate you 8 out of 10 because this practical experience that you will take, for example, at some point, if you're to build an NFT and you want to be paid in Bitcoin, it could be an easier way for you because you can easily cash out, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important bit of this, like getting practical and dealing with that sort of technology firsthand, which I think is the most important. So I would rate you probably 8 out of 10. And the main reason maybe why I have not added the tweets because it's only been a few weeks, right?
Yes.
Probably.
And I think we played it safe.
Yeah, you played it
super
safe. Yeah, hopefully once the price, if it goes up, probably your views might change and you might even put more money. Depends.
Yeah.
If the price continues going down, that might even scare you. So I think it's that's why I say it's a bit long term.
Yeah.
Try play around with it, see how it works, and then learn a bit of like what's the practical, like what can I do with this sort of coins or this technology.
Yeah, I think this was one where even just investing 1 shilling, we overcame the first major hurdle. Like we've got an account, we can do it. We know what buttons to click. We know what the process is, and to me, that massively demystified things.
And I still get the price alerts, and I just feel nice. I feel so important getting the price alerts about Bitcoin.
So that's the first level of demystification. But Erick, let's demystify things a bit more. In your words, you are an expert. What is all the fuss about with cryptocurrency, and what do you think the future holds for it?
Interesting. So in terms of, I think it's something new, to be honest. So of course, with a lot of these new technologies, people tend to make a lot of mistakes. People lose a lot of money. Just as we've seen in the last few weeks, others will make money, like the billionaires who've been created out of this crypto industry. And the billions that have been lost. I read somewhere this week that about a third of the market value of crypto has been wiped out in the last 6-7 months alone.
Because it's been
there are companies that have actually collapsed. So many companies that have actually collapsed, yet they had raised billions and billions of dollars from VCs. Even
if they have the other coins, Bitcoin could take it down like that.
It's not just Bitcoin. No, the thing is,
all of them.
Yeah, if it's more of like a contagion effect, whereby if the crypto market is falling, Bitcoin will be affected, Ethereum will be affected, all these other coins will be affected.
I don't think any can be independent. They all affect each other.
Yeah. So my view about the industry is that I think we are still learning, like even across the world, this new technology, but there are lots of opportunities that people can take advantage of. And for me, they always view things is that when there's a crisis, that's a good point to either build a business or get an opportunity out of it. And my view about the industry is that, to be honest, I'm very optimistic about the industry. Not that I'm an expert, but I'm also trying to learn because we do work with a lot of companies in the space. At some point, given that we run a regulated sort of business, which is financial markets, we haven't gone into crypto. In Kenya, it's more you're still in a gray area around this. So at some point, so my view is I'm learning about the space, and if I get to say some opportunities in the space, I'll hopefully build a product.
So, Eric, tell us what's next for Hisa Technologies. That's your company, and maybe Kenyan Wall Street, any of the products or services. What should we look out for?
Interesting. So, as you mentioned, we began out as like a media company initially. Then we ended up building a technology company.
That's very hard. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So it's most people actually don't. Initially, people thought we were just running a media company, but most of our work was actually building back office solutions for banks and brokers. Then we ended up building a fintech company, which is scaling extremely fast, and we are dealing with people's money. So initially, the business has been bootstrapped. We only did like our first fundraising this year. We're in the middle of like trying to close our second sort of round, more of like a seed round from a bit of some international investors. But the future is, I see it in terms of how do we scale beyond Kenya? How do we scale across Africa? How do we power banks and other financial service providers to offer, investing to their clients? So I think the future is very bright. I think we barely scratched even 1% of what we're doing. And of course, I'm learning and hopefully be able to also build wealth. If you ever build wealth, hopefully, yeah, I hope we just play a significant role. In just helping other people also build wealth.
I hope you'll be able to also create an environment where people can be paid in Bitcoin and crypto.
Hopefully.
Coming.
Yeah, hopefully when the regulations allow, hopefully we can do something like that.
Okay.
All right. So if you want to get involved in cryptocurrency, we'll share all the links to the platforms that we used and even the ones we didn't, and some resources on Kenyan Wall Street and other reputable and credible sources. But please be warned, cryptocurrency is real money. Any risks you take can involve losing or gaining money. So please be aware of these risks, okay? Do not follow our advice or do what we did and then end up losing money and come and complain to us, okay? We don't have money to help you. We don't recommend going in blind. And remember, trading anything that is a financial commodity is a risk.
We'll also post some photos, videos, snippets of our experiences on our social media to inspire you to say yes to crypto, to try it out, or to at least find out what it's about and maybe, what its value is in your currency.
I do recommend it, though. I recommend this experience. Hi. Want to know the easiest way to be a yes boy or girl right now in just a few minutes? It's an easy do, be, learn approach. The do. Start by simply subscribing to the podcast wherever you're listening to us and click subscribe or follow and you'll know when the next episode is out.
And now for the B. This one's easy. Be a sharer. Spread the word about anything you've had for this episode or just pretty much about the podcast itself. And don't forget to tag us at Yes Girls Podcast so that we can show you some love and thank you in the best way possible. You can tag each of us at Akumu Fiona and at Half Baked Claire and at
Erick Asuma, Erick without a K.
And your company?
Hisa Up.
Hisa, that's
Hisa
Hisa.
Hisa, yes.
Yes.
Hisa Up.
And check out the app.
Yeah.
And finally, for the learn, what's your biggest takeaway from this episode or the season? Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with others by leaving us a rating on Spotify or a review on the platform that you're listening to us on. It really helps get our podcast out there. That's it. A do, be, learn approach you can say yes to yourself in just a couple of minutes after we're done here.
And if you don't already follow us on the socials, what are you waiting for? It's at Yes Girls Podcast all together. We are waiting. Do it now. And feel free to stalk us for any behind the scenes footage. Like we said, we'll share everything, even links on this show notes. So look at the description on this episode.
And you can slide into our DMs or comment on what you like, what you want more of, what we should say yes to, or how you might want to get involved through sponsorship or collaborations. We've been so happy and honored this season to be able to collaborate with such amazing people and organizations like Erick sitting right next to me right here, right now. We think Sompisha Productions out of Snowball Studios, along with Ernest Ndioba, who produced this episode, have a very high value, no matter what. We would go through any sort of due diligence necessary for Sam Kagora of Eterno Concepts, who did our amazing logo design. There's a lot of speculation around Ped O'Brien, who composed our theme song, and our hearts inflate for Joy, our yes kid for this episode, who was the yes kid for possibly the most difficult topic for a kid of this whole season.
Yeah, this was a challenge to find.
And of course, we would cash in big time with Erick Asuma, our amazing expert for this episode, who demystified a whole new world for us and I'm sure for you.
And not forgetting you, the real, you're the real money. Show me the money. Anyway, all of you, we love you. You're the yes girls and boys and everything in between. We thank you for listening and supporting us in whatever way feels right for you.
So thanks, Erick.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Well, we didn't become millionaires, not even close. We actually lost some money, but
no, we didn't really.
But we learned a lot. Yeah. I mean, it was losable money. According to me, Claire is doing the budget to earn that money back. Look out for the financial management episode. Anyway, maybe crypto is our kryptonite. Maybe, but it was a good experience. And I think this was a good start for a learning experience that's possibly going to continue.
Yeah, just the start. And we can now look forward to another episode of the Yes Girls in just 2 weeks, not far away, where, similar to kryptonite, we'll be talking about something green.
Bogies! My innocence.
Not bogies. I'll tell you what it is in 2 weeks. But for now, it's bye-bye Bitcoin from me, Claire.
And me, Akumu. And together we are...
Yes,
Girls
podcast.
Yes, girls. And yes, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, man. Which one are you? Boy or man?
Yes, boys.
Yes, boy.
Yes, boy.
Together we are the
Yes
Boys
boy.
and Girls.
Yes, girls
Yes.
and boys podcast.
Oh, yeah.